Hello everyone, Hachadino over here, and today we are doing another weekly rogue roundup for the raid. It's been a little bit of thing because last week was PoE 2 release, so we didn't do one. But this week we come back again. As you can see here, Sublety is still very strong. Now Survival and Frost have kind of cemented them also at the top, but these three specs are going to be kind of there for a big while on the overall standings. Remember, this is over all bosses, and we do remarkable well on some of them, but on others, not that much. So let's go them as always on Imperator Aversion. As I said before, and as week goes more, it's very likely that Sublety will keep being the best rogue spec, mainly because you do damage to the boss, decent damage to the boss. Maybe some people are already going into Death Stalker, having even more damage to the boss, and you also have some burst cliff for when the ads spawn. They will die very fast depending on your raid group, but it still makes it the best spec. Of course, as you can see, Outlaw also has very decent damage. It does good damage to the boss, and if the ads survive long enough, it also does decent cliff to them, and then can come back to the boss without losing a lot of DPS. As of course, you do need to check your cooldowns so they snipe the ads well. Otherwise, you are going to suffer quite a bit. Assassination sadly doesn't have that um, much of a bursty AoE profile, so it can do a lot of damage to the boss. As you see, to the damage to bosses, Assassination will be on par or even higher than Sublety, but then it won't have a lot of damage on the ads because, of course, as you know, Assassination has to put some blitz and then get to Caustic and other things, and maybe you just don't play any AoE talents at all, just to focus on single target on this fight. Now for Voracious, this is going to be the tried and true single target fight. Of course, Assassination is going to be up there, but if you see the parses, you will see that Sublety has 9,000 and Outlaw and Assassination both together have around 3,000. So same thing as before. The best people are playing sub, so they're going to be doing the most DPS, and Assassination does decent, but Sublety can also cleave the ads. So if you have 2 or 3 around you, you will get them from for coup, or if you are a Deathstalker, you cycle your Deathstalker's mark faster, making you have more Darkest Nights, and also now remember the mark does more damage. It is very unlikely that you actually use Black Powder as the Deathstalker, but you do get some value from the AoE there. Of course, same thing as before, if we go for the damage to bosses, Assassination will be a little bit higher than sub, and now Outlaw, because it can have almost full uptime, depending on how your raid does things, you can have full uptime on the boss and not lose a lot. Also, a lot of strats are just killing ads now in the middle part instead of on the far part, and then on the second set they go into melee and just break the walls that way, not losing a lot of damage, and also being able to cleave both places. Now, Fallen Kill Salhadar, you will see Sublety's kind of doing more, but it's because we pad very well and effectively fast. So there will be a lot of those little balls. If you have seen any mythic fight, the fight itself, and then it also has a little bit of an amp phase where we can use our blades there, and we will do more damage there. Now, some people are also playing Deathstalker, and that's why if you see the damage to bosses, we are also doing quite well on there, because same thing as Voracious, you can go into more of a single target profile, but also have extra cleave, and if you go for that Stalker, those extra targets help you get more damage into the main one, because if you are in a dance and you are doing the mark shuffle, you may be able to get extra Darkest Nights over the fight. The ones in dance won't change much because you do want to enter and get one Darkest Night and then one at the end, so that won't change much. But outside you will have some mark damage. And also remember that with Lingering Darkness also having some power after Blades, you do get some damage even outside of dance. Now, for dragons, same thing as before. Sublety just does the most burst AoE. Our two target cliff is very very bad. So if you see only the damage to bosses, we're actually going to be all the way down here, as you can see. Because on two targets, we are playing with potent powder, so you do use black powder, but still that means that most of our dances are also kind of waiting for that moment where the ads spawn, and then we can snipe them. And same thing as before, on other bosses, Sublety has around 3000 parses, and then Outlaw and Assassination only 700 and 500. So I think Outlaw could be a little bit higher, but as you can see, some underperformers kind of destroy the value of it. Now, let's talk about Lightning Vanguard. Let's just say this boss doesn't exist, but also Solity will do worse and worse as the fight kind of might skip one of our blades because it's getting a little bit shorter on the shorter side. And now I'm actually surprised that Frost Mage is kind of the best one. I thought Arms would be up there, but maybe Frost Mage just has more power because they are ranged, so they can just reposition faster and not lose a lot of uptime. Also, being able to hit bosses as they go away instead of melee, where you can just hit two, sometimes three, and then when one of them goes away, you have 0 DPS on those for the most part. Crown of the Cosmos, Sublety. I actually expect Sublety to be a little bit higher after more people change to Deathstalker, and if they ever kind of take the damage amp of the bosses thingies. But also the problem that we have here, and also you will see also on the last bosses, is the number of parses goes down dramatically for the other specs. Like as you can see, Sublety still has a healthy 2000, but with Outlaw and Assassination, we come to 200 and 150, around 10 to 15% of the parses. I do think that Outlaw is kind of decent of this fight. It won't destroy P1 because Sublety kind of it's very good at it unless your guild is already very very fast and they are skipping the blades, the second blades that you get on the ad that has the super amp. But otherwise, our boss damage is also very respectable. As you can see here, we are still up. Mainly, assassination could be a little bit higher, but same thing as before. Not a lot of people are playing it, so the chances of high rolling and other things go down quite a bit. Now for Veloran, same thing as before. Most people are going to be playing Sublety. And as you can see over here, Sublety has 1733, and then the other one 140 and 104. Here, Assassination, if they do the 2-minute wait, it has decent damage on the egg. Like it's nothing crazy like Sublety, even more when people go to Deathstalker, because Deathstalker has a 40-second better window than the Trickster. Even if you go cloud cover, Trickster will do less damage, mainly because remember after Blaze we have Lingering Darkness, and dances with Lingering Darkness already do quite a decent amount of damage because that 30% Shadow Amp works with out of the hero talents and also with Secret Technique. It's funny because Secret Technique actually does more damage outside of Blades than inside of Blades. And then for Magnet Falls, I would actually not talk much about this boss because the number of parses won't be high, and most of these people are people that are already reclearing it. So you won't see many assassinations or outlaws, because Sublety was very good. It had decent damage, good survivability, good movement, because remember we have fade to nothing and other things that gives us movement to reposition very easily. You also have Shadow Step, you have Cloak, you have Cheat Death if you play it, or Elusiveness if you really want to help your healers on those phases where everyone is taking damage, so you have those feints ready. Very reliable spec. Of course, we are still doing decent damage, and if you go Death Stalker, you're actually going to be doing a lot more boss damage. I don't think a lot of people are changing yet, because a lot of guilds are actually used to Sublety and Trickster, use cleaving very well on the crystals on P1, and it actually doesn't do that much worse damage on single target, so people are just sticking with it for the most part. But as you can see here, Assassination does decent damage on the boss. It has that Bloodlust with Deathmark at the 6 minutes and 10 seconds that they can get if they push the boss to 35 or lower. They have that big spike, let's say. But for the overall boss, of course, somebody has more parses, so they are going to be quite a bit ahead. As you can see, enhancement is kind of funny because there are only, let's check how many, 61, and some of them performed very well, but others not quite. Maybe they just died. And Elemental does crazy amounts of burst to the crystals, helps a raid massively, and also does decent boss damage. Because if you see here to the damage to bosses, they are not bad all the way. They kind of shine in these fights instead of constant cliff like in Paladins. They finally enough are actually worse than us in Paladins, because their constant cliff they're actually not worse. They are better now. Only Feral is worse than us now. Well, so their constant cliff is nothing crazy, same as Sub, but their bursty cliff and their single target is decent enough to be up there. So this is everything that we need to look at this week. Another thing that you may want to know is that the other raid is going to be releasing soon. I will kind of make some information about that one. But for now, this is the Rogue Weekly. Maybe I can get some other people joining. I will see if I can get them. And if not, we will keep going. Have a nice day, and I will see you on the next video.